Okay, so this week I wanted to talk about interest only versus principal and interest. So for a start, interest only is where you are paying the interest each month on that loan and you're not paying down any of the principal. So the idea behind interest only is it's really great for anyone with an investment property because it means that keeping what is a tax deduction or what could be a tax deduction for them as high as possible while pooling the majority of their money into their own home. The catch is sometimes that extra money doesn't go into their home loan and it can get siphoned in basic living costs and things like that. So what you can find if you're on interest only, let's say for 5 years, is after that 5-year term, your outstanding balance on your loan is exactly the same as it was back when it started. So this is why it's not ideal for someone who's in their principal place of residence, so a place where they want to be living for the rest of their life, to be on interest only. Because it means that in 10 years time, your property may have increased in value, but your loan has still stayed the same. Whereas if you're paying principal and interest, you're paying a little bit of principal each month. But as the years go by, you actually find you're starting to pay the same amount of principal as interest. And then as even more years go by and you're at the tail end of your loan, you'll start to find that you're paying more principal off than interest each month, which is a really exciting prospect. So when it comes to interest only for investors, if you are on an interest only loan, then typically these go for a maximum of 5 years. So depending on the type of loan you've got and which bank you're with, it can mean that you need to go back and get a pre-approval to extend for another 5 years. Now you would only really do this if you still had a home loan that you were paying off. If you had no other debts and you were mortgage free on your own home, then depending on what your accountant said, it could be a good idea to start paying some of the principal down off your investment loans, or it could also mean that you can start growing your investment portfolio now that you've got those extra funds there. It may also mean that you need to look at refinancing the loan depending on how it's structured and who it's with. If you chose interest only for 1, 2 years, maybe 3 years, and you're wanting to reinstate that, you can go for up to another 2 years depending on the bank or lender without having to get new financials done. So the reason behind that is the bank want to make sure that you can actually repay that debt. So you've taken a contract over 30 years to have that loan repaid within 30 years. If you pay interest only for the first 5 years, that then means you need to be able to afford to pay that loan off within 25 years because it's a 30-year contract. If you've paid interest only for 5 years and then you decide to go another 5 years, that means you need to be able to afford to repay the debt over 20 years. So you can see why the banks, when it starts to get over 5 years, the banks and lenders want to make sure that you can afford to repay that debt. They don't want you to get to 5 years left of the loan term and you've got 100% of the loan amount that you need to repay. So some ways around that, if you are an investor and you've got an investment portfolio that you want to keep maximizing your interest, your tax deductions off, then you can either look at refinancing and extending the loan term out again for the 30-year pre-approval or special approval to extend the interest only payment. And there are other things you can do as well. Depending on what your accountant says, you can also go on principal and interest. But like I said, it completely depends on your current circumstances and what your accountant's structured for you as well. So make sure you check everything out with them before you decide whether you're going to extend your interest only period or change to principal and interest or whatever it is. So if you've got any questions about principal and interest payments, interest only, or just investment loans growing your portfolio, then make sure you email me, marianne@360mortgagesolutions.com.au, and I will make sure I get back to you, or pop your comments in below. And if you got value from this video, please make sure you like it and share it, or subscribe so that you can get the next video when it comes out. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.